Okay, so in the last tutorial we configured the network. Okay, so the interface card that we had, the one interface card that we have on this one virtual machine, this CentOS 6.3 desktop version, we configured the interface with a static IP address of 10.10.10.30, network gateway of 255.255.255.0, and if we just do ifconfig, you can see here that we've got 10.10.10.30, and then the network mask of 255.255.255.0, and so on. Okay, and our DNS currently, if we just press Control L to clear the screen, and if we look at our, if we cat out our etc resolve file, you can see that the name server that we're using is 10.10.10.1, which is our gateway. Okay, default gateway. In this one, what we're going to do is we're going to install bind and basically set up our DNS server, and we're going to tell this one computer that it should resolve all of the DNS queries itself. Now naturally the actual process is going to go through our gateway itself, but the actual DNS resolution is going to be done on this one server, so it's just the packets which is going to be sent to the gateway to go outside into the cloud to retrieve the information, and it's also going to cache information itself. So the first thing in which we need to do is become root, and if you're not root already, just press SU and then it will ask for your root password. So let's just clear this again. What we need to do is we need to install a couple of packages. Okay, so yum install, and what we want is bind and also bind dash utils. Okay, with inside bind dash utils you've got the likes of dig and ns lookup and so on, so we need that to be installed. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and press enter and start the search and the install. Okay, you can see it's finding some packages, and it's also installing bind. Now it looks like that utils was already installed. Yeah, already installed in the latest version. Okay, so that's all well and good. Okay, so we click, we just press yes to download. Okay, it won't take very long. It's really quite quick installation. Okay, and it just keeps running. Verify. Okay, so now that's complete. So we're just going to type in clear to clear the screen. Now what we want to do is we want to edit our configuration file for our named. Okay, so it's called, the package is called bind, but the actual configuration and the service, the daemon on running on this machine, is called the named, or the name daemon. Okay, named, and this can be found under the etc folder. So if we just go change directory and go etc and then just do ls to list them out. Okay, and we can see here that there's a named folder and also a named.conf file. This is the file which we want to edit. Okay, so we're just going to clear the screen and say vim, okay, or use vi or anything else you want. I prefer vim, and we're going to say then named.conf. Okay, open this up. Now in the beginning we're just basically going to set up our DNS server in the first step in this video tutorial. Then in the second step, within inside this same video tutorial, we're then going to set up a domain, okay, to be able to resolve a domain to this one server. Okay, so within inside of the listen on port 53, we want to put our IP address, okay, and which was 10.10.10.30, and end it with a semicolon. So you should have the loopback address of 127.0.0.1 and then 10.10.10.30, whatever it is your IP address of this one computer is. Next we want to come down to allow query, and we just want to put any here. I'm pretty certain that you can remove localhost because any would be implicitly saying hey everything. Anyway, but I just like to for visually to see that localhost and any is there. Okay, so that's basically that step for now. We are going to continue with adding a zone with inside of here as well, but we're just going to get this set up for the time being. So just press escape, colon, and then WQ to exit out of this. Now what we do need to do now is edit our network configuration interface file once again. Okay, so we can change the DNS to point back to ourselves rather than the gateway, and also then edit the resolve.conf file. So we'll do the resolve.conf file first. So let's just say vim etc resolve.conf and come in here and just edit this. Okay, this is going to be 127.0.0.1. This is going to be the loopback address. Okay, so you can just press escape :WQ to exit out of this and to save. Okay, next thing we want to do is edit, like I said, our interface card once again. So etc sysconfig network scripts cfg -eth0 to whatever it is your outward facing interface network card is. Okay, just press enter. Come in here in our DNS1. Okay, we're just going to point this to be nice and explicit to ourselves. Okay, we could write 127.0.0.1, but 10.10.10.30 is pointing to itself anyway. Now the important thing to note at the moment is this home.local. Okay, this is the domain which we're actually going to use to resolve this one server. Okay, so let's just press escape and :WQ to get out of that. Okay, let's just cat out our etc file, our resolve.conf file. Okay, that's all perfectly fine. So now what we want to do is, first of all, we want to put down our network interface card. Okay, so we'll just say if down, so interface down, and eth0, and then we'll say if up, and then eth0 to bring it up. Just because all these new configurations need to be reloaded, and if you don't do this otherwise then they're not reloaded. Okay, next thing that we want to do is we want to start the named service. Now I'll just say restart for the sake of doing it. Okay, it's going to generate this this rndc.key. Okay, this can take from like 5 seconds up to 5 minutes. Okay, but just let it sit there and do it. I haven't particularly researched into whether or not you can do this manually. I'm pretty damn certain you can, but to be honest with you, it does it here the first time. It only does it when you first initially run the named service. Okay, then it does this. After that it will never do this once again. Okay, so you just need to let this go the first time. I mean, I should read into whether you can do this manually, but I'm happy to let the service do it itself. Okay, so until this comes, oh, there we go. Didn't take very long. So that's now made one of these files. Okay, so now we know that the named daemon is up and running. Okay, we can test this by saying service status, named status, and we can see here that it's running. First of all, okay, service is up, the server is up and running. Okay, this at the moment, this would help us because we can say dig localhost, and you can see that we get an answer coming back for our local host, and we can say dig Google, and it will come back with all of our all of the Google name servers and the A records and so on for Google. So we know that it's basically working, and we can say that ping Google as well will work perfectly fine. Now at this point to note, okay, I'm just going to press Ctrl L to clear. At this point to note, if you don't edit your etc resolve.conf file to point back to yourself, you're not going to get any internet connectivity. Okay, so for the sake and purposes of showing this, what we're going to do is we're going to take this name server file out, or this entry out, and save it once again to show you that you don't get any internet connectivity. Okay, so we'll just say ping Google, and we don't get anything at all. Okay, so although that's to do with the network interface card, it's also in this point needs to the DNS needs to be pointed back to itself. Okay, so if you put in a DNS server for someone else, it's never going to point back to itself. That's the important thing here, is that when you make a request either through Firefox or through ping or through anything like that that does a DNS lookup, Okay, it needs to point back to itself so the named service, okay, can start doing its jobs. Okay, so let's just come back into here and let's put this back in. Okay, another important factor here is that if you want port 53 to be let out, okay, and okay, with regards to the firewalls, which I don't really want to get into in this, is you can see here, if we list out all the firewall entries at the moment, under the input we're letting all ICMP entries come through, okay, and we're basically letting everything else come through here. Alright, anyway, so this is basically allowing everything. Okay, then everything else, for which let's actually look at the file rather than looking at this. Okay, so etc sys config, and then IP tables. Okay, so we can see that we're letting through the input chain. Okay, we're appending the protocol ICMP, and we're allowing this to come through, so we're accepting this to come through. And then we've got on the interface, the loopback interface, we're accepting everything, and then we're only accepting port 22 to come in, and we're basically rejecting every other input coming in to this one web server, okay, with the reject ICMP host prohibited. Okay, therefore if we was to set up another computer and set that as its DNS server, okay, then it wouldn't allow any packets on port 53 on TCP and or UDP to come in, right, which is not good. Now to go out, we can see that out is default, it has been set to accept, therefore we know that port 53 is going to go out okay, but it's not going to come back in. And this one entry here, this first entry here, is established and related, therefore anything that's going out is going to be allowed to come back in because it's been established, okay, and it's already got a connection, therefore it can come back in again. Okay, so if we want to allow information, if we want to allow another computer to get DNS through this one server, we need to open up port 53. Okay, I'm not going to do that in this tutorial, I'm going to do that in the next tutorial, but this will work perfectly fine for now, because we're only working for that one server. We're only going to do DNS requests on this one server for itself, okay, but it's just a point to note. Okay, so let's just get out of here. Okay, so we know that this is all working at the moment, which is good. So we can say ping Google. I mean, that has nothing really to do with the DNS at the moment, although it did use DNS then to resolve the IP address on the first line. So once it got the IP address through DNS, okay, then it could then start doing the ping request. Okay, so now potentially what we need to do is we need to add our DNS record, okay, and our zone in order for us to actually resolve a domain name on this one server. Okay, so where do we need to go? We're going to change to the we're going to open up once again the etc named.conf file, and because we're already in the etc directory, you can see that by here from here. So we're going to edit this. Okay, and down here, just above the zone and the root server, okay, we're going to add another entry. So just come in here and say zone, and with double quotes in here, I'm going to say home.local. Alright, so I'm keeping it as a local domain. I don't want to use a domain that's actually out on the web. I'm going to say type equals master, and then end it with a colon, and then file, we're going to say file is home.local.zone. This is just the name of the file, okay, it doesn't matter, you can name it anything you want. Okay, I like to end it with the .zone so I can see that this file is a zone file. And what we're also going to do is we're going to say zone, and then we've got 10.10.10, then dots, so we've got dots, and then we've got in-addr.arpa. Okay, this is going to be the other zone that we're going to do. This is the reverse lookup zone, and then we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to say type equals master, and file equals 10.10.10, 10.in address.arpa.zone. Okay, like I said, this is just a file name, so it's not actually, this one here is not actually going to do anything in particular. It's this one here that's within inside of the double quotes that's of importance. Okay, make sure you end it with a semicolon on the angle brackets, on the curly braces, sorry, and here as well, and each line is ended with a semicolon. So let's just press escape, colon, and WQ to quit. Now we need to basically save these files, and if you look at the top of this one file, we can see the directory is var/named. So we need to save these files with inside the var/named directory. Okay, so it can basically find them. So escape, colon, WQ to exit once again, and we're going to change to the var named directory. Okay, we're just going to list out what's in there, and you can see then the name.ca, name.empty, name.localhost, name.loopback, and so on. So what we need to do in here is we need to make one file first of all, because the other one we're just going to copy this. So home.local.zone, we made that. Now we need to open this one file up. Okay, and okay, there's a few things that we need to place in here. We're going to make it very simple in the beginning. Okay, so we need to press I for inserts, and then TTL, just going to place for 3 hours. That's just basically the time to live. So I don't want to get into too much about this DNS, I just want to get it written first of all. Okay, now we're going to then start with the @ sign, and we're going to say in SOA, and we're going to give it our name server. So this is going to be home.local dot, and all of these have to end with a dot, okay, because this is how DNS works. And the next one is then going to be root.home.local. This is the email address. Now, because we can't use the @ sign because it has another meaning within inside the DNS file, we have to use the dots. Okay. Okay. Then we're just going to do open bracket, and then just nudge in a little bit, and we're going to do, say, number 1 as the first serial. Okay, this is the serial. And then the next one is then the refresh, okay, or sorry, retry, which we're going to now set at 1 hour. Okay, because this is a production or a development machine, we want to know that our DNS is always being updated all the time. So this is refresh. I want to refresh the entry. Okay, and we're going to say retry after, I don't know, 10 minutes. And we're going to say expire after 1 day. Okay, so we're making it a very short one, and then the negative, okay, the negative TTL is then 1 week. Okay, so that's the first of the SOA part done. Next thing what we need to do is we need to set up the name server. Okay, so we say home.local dot, which is what is going to be how we're going to get to our websites, and it's the request that we're going to put in. So when we say home.local with inside of Firefox to get to our website, it needs to resolve to a name server. Okay, and our name server is home.local dot. Okay, as stated here, this is our name server. Okay, so we're only going to have one name server because this is only one machine, and if you're going to have 2 name servers, then you potentially should have 2 machines. Okay, because if one machine goes down, then you know you've got a backup machine as well. It seems completely redundant having them both on the same machine. Okay, next thing we need to do is we need to add a record for this one name server. So we say ns.home.local dot, and we say in, and we put this in the A records. Okay, and we're going to say 10.10.10.30. This is the IP address of this one machine. Okay. Okay, next thing we need to do is we need to add an entry or an A record for the actual domain name itself. I'm going to say 10.10.30. Okay, and next thing we're going to do is we're going to add an entry for this one host as well, this one computer. So we're going to say David desktop. Okay, and we're going to say .home.local. So if anyone wants to resolve this one computer, it's going to be resolving to this one as well. So they can get us through the fully qualified domain name as well for this one computer, because the domain name of this one computer is going to be home.local. Okay, so let's just tidy this up very slightly and put them all in nice rows and columns as such. Okay, what we also now want to do is want to add our www. And I like to do this kind of explicitly, so I like to add an A record for it. Okay, you could add a CNAME. Okay, and that's going to be it for now. So we're making it very, very simple, very, very basic, and we're just going to press exit and WQ. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to copy this one home.local zone to the 10.10.10. In address ARPA zone, the other file that we decided to make. Okay, so we're going to copy it there so we don't have to rewrite it. And now we're going to open it up with Vim. Okay, and we can find it there and open this one up. Now pretty much most of this is going to be the same. Okay, but we're just going to change this up here to the actual reverse lookup for the zone for the IP address. Okay, and we'll say ARPA here, ARPA. Okay, the rest is going to stay the same, and then we want to check. We can leave the name server the same. Okay, but when we just put 30 here, okay, is the name server, and then we want to put 30 here. Whoops, just 30. That's the IP address which is on the 10.10.10. zone, and then 30 here once again. So these are all going to resolve to 10.10.30. Okay. And we can actually get rid of that one. Okay, so the first one that we need to add is in. Oops. Okay, is in the A record for this one. So let's remove this and say PTR. And this one is, the caps lock is on. This one is for the ns.home.local. So we're adding a PTR entry for that one there, and then we're going to add our home.local one, and then we're going to add our home.local, our www.home.local one there as well. Oh yeah, why did I have to delete that? Oh, we need to change to PTR as well, and then we're going to add our David desktop.home.local as well for that one there. But we need to change that A record to PTR. And this one as well. Okay, so that's pretty much that part done. David desktop home.local. They've all got dots on the end, which is important, and they're all PTR and they're all off 30. Okay, so that's good. So we can press escape :WQ to exit, and with fingers crossed we can say service named D restart, and hopefully we haven't made any syntactical errors. Okay. Oh yeah, okay, so this first line 9, near negative, extra input, so that one's wrong. Okay, it's no big deal. Ah yeah, look, I didn't put the colon. You probably recognise that. You probably sat there screaming your head off going, David, you forgot the semicolon. Yep, I did. Well done. Why didn't you tell me, huh? Okay, so we need to edit this one as well. Oh, it's nearly perfect then. If you just told me, well, it could have been nearly perfect. Okay, so that one should be all fine and dandy. Now we can start this, and we've still got errors, is fine. Okay, error in named configuration, has no NS records. Okay, 10. Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm a bugger for doing this as well. So just can put the @ sign there. Okay, that's just basically to resolve itself. Okay, there we go. Alright, everyone makes mistakes, but it's not the nicest thing to do, writing DNS records, but it's not the most difficult thing either. Okay, right, so now that's started, now we can say, well, let's just clear this, shall we? So let's just type clear, and let's say dig home home.local. Okay, and as you can see here, we get our record coming back, saying that it's found a record, and it's then it's been resolved at 10.10.10.30 by no surprise. We can now say ping home.local. Okay, that one works as well and it resolves back. We can also say ping www, and that one comes back as well because that's an A record, right? Believe it or not, we're pinging www, but because it's an A record, okay, it's resolving then to www.home.local, because we used within inside of our etc file, our resolve file, search home.local, which means that if anything is given, okay, and it doesn't end with a dot, okay, then it will append it onto the end of home.local, and it will search it from that. So basically we can say ping David desktop, and it will resolve to 10.10.10.30. okay, we can say then David desktop.home.local dots, and that will resolve that as well. Yeah, so you can now add any subdomain or anything like that on your one computer. Okay, now in order for you to be able to then resolve these domain names on other computers, okay, without adding any entries into your host file, okay, this is the key thing about it, is you may before on your Windows machine always added your IP address and then the domain name with inside of your host file, so your C, Windows, System32, or whatever it is as well, I can never remember. So you might have added your IP address and stuff with inside of that one host file. This way you don't have to do that. I mean, you can just make subdomains after subdomain, and you just have to add them to your DNS record rather than adding it always to your host file. Okay, so, and obviously you can always see the name server information when you just do dig. Okay, so we can say, oh sorry, what am I doing? Using NS lookup, we can see here that this is what response we get. We get them all coming back from here, and we can see that the address was on the loopback address as well. Okay, that's pretty much that bit done. The next tutorial, what we're going to do is we're going to set up then our actual web server to then display a website. Okay, and later on, if you're thinking about the IP tables part of it and the firewall part of it, okay, I'm going to do that further to the end, because the whole aim of this one video tutorial is to get a web server configured on your local machine first of all for developing, and then we'll move on to being able to resolve that one domain name from another machine within inside of your local network, okay, without adding any entries into the host file, but just adding a DNS record, adding a DNS server to their one network interface card. Okay, so okay, that's basically it for the time being. Yeah, so we'll wait to see you with inside of the next part, and we'll start to do the actual installing of the web server and to configure our website as such. Okay, thanks very much for watching. I hope that you've learnt something. There's still a lot more to learn on this one topic than what I've just shown you. Okay, but at least it should give you the starting ground to really look elsewhere to find further information, or to buy a book about it as well and read about it. It's a huge topic and massive topic. Okay, but I do advise reading up about a few of these things. Okay, but over time it does get a lot easier. Alright, so thanks very much for watching. I wish you a nice evening. Goodbye.